Hello, everybody. This is Tracy with the Health and Fitness Show with Tracy. Welcome. If you're new to the show, my name is Tracy Markley, and I've been a fitness specialist for nearly 30 years, and I've written courses for the fitness industry, and I'm also an author of 14 books. So I'm making a short little video right now, short as it could be, just to share my books. So on the podcast, if you're new to it, you'll see that I've done some interviews. They're usually longer podcasts, and then there'll be shorter ones with just me. Maybe mine will be longer sometimes too, but there'll be ones with just me talking like I used to do my radio show, and there'll be ones interviewed. So today I wanted to just share my books. If someone asked me, to do this, so I thought, let's do it. So I've done it in YouTube a while ago, but I'm going to send this out on the podcast. So I became an author in 2017. My first book is called, just to get right into it, The Stroke of an Artist, The Journey of a Fitness Trainer and Stroke Survivor. It's a story about my client, Gary, who came to me in a walker 6 months after he had a stroke. His journey was amazing. I learned so much from him. He learned from me. It was just an incredible experience, which led me to just continue with that kind of work. Anyway, so he wanted a story shared. And he said if his story could help just one person, then sharing his story was worth it. But as we were working together, he was really funny. It felt like he was somebody I've known my whole life. We actually grew up in the same area, but we didn't know each other until we lived in a small town. Him and his wife lived in a small town, and I was there as a trainer and at the gym. Anyway, he was an artist. So sometimes we'd be working, training, and he'd out of the blue go, "Don't ever have a stroke. They suck." And then he'd always talk about sharing a story. So I finally one day said, we should write a book and call it Dear Stroke, You Suck. And then that led me to do it. But right before the book was, being ready to be published, I changed the name because he was an artist. And I asked him once, so what is it like being an artist now? Because it took him I can't remember exact timing, I think over a year, maybe close to 2 years for him even to do artwork again. So he told me that when he goes to paint like he's painting with a black line, he says he can't make long, thin strokes. They keep ending up being short, thick strokes. So he was frustrated. So at that point, I said, oh, let's change the name of the book to The Stroke of an Artist, because it was kind of playing the word stroke. So I did that, and it was fine. And but I noticed sometimes it showed up as an art book. And when COVID came, I woke up one day and my gut said, you know what, bring that book back with the original name. So I did. So and also when I brought it back, I just made it in larger print, because all my books are in larger print, because I figured if you had a stroke or if you're struggling or if you're tired, I get tired. It's easier to read my book. I'm in my 50s, and when the words are a little bigger, much easier to read than the tiny words. Not that I'm normally tiny, it was just a normal size print, but I just made it so it's the exact same story, same book. This was just a little larger print, so it's thicker, and all the images of him or images of muscles and things that I teach in there are just larger. So that's the book. It's The Stroke of an Artist, The Journey of a Fitness Trainer and Stroke Survivor, and it's also Dear Stroke, You Suck, The Journey of a Fitness Trainer and Stroke Survivor. So those are available on my website and on Amazon. But this is also on audio. So all my books are on Amazon. They can be print, they can be Kindle. 3 books are on audio, and I'll tell you which ones are as they go along. But all of them can be ordered through my website, www.tracymarkley.com. You can see, click on Tracy's books, and you can click on the Amazon link and take you right to where you can order on Amazon, or you can order straight from me. And then if you order from me, I sign them. You get them quicker off of Amazon because they just print them and send them out. You get them in a day or two. Sometimes it takes longer because it goes through a different system. So anyway, that was my first book. My second book I wrote because I had people calling me saying, can you add a little more of the exercises you did with Gary? And I didn't want it to make it a book on stroke. So basically my next book is called Tipping Towards Balance, A Fitness Trainer's Guide to Stability and Walking. And this has little tiny short stories of different clients that I've had that I've helped with their balance and walking, including a woman who was 103 and a half years old, and she hired me, and I trained her till she was 105. And she was 105. She got sick and she passed away. But her story's in here. It's a fun story. And you can see it here. You could see just in training her for 3 months, look at her posture that changed. And she was 103 and half years old. I was shocked. And she would come into the gym carrying her child-sized Bosu ball on her roller walker and work with me. It was just, she was fabulous. So it's just a few page story and people, and just some stories there about balance, different reasons people have balance issues. And then there's 8 exercises in here. So this is Tipping Towards Balance, my second book. And that's me on the cover with my dog Wasabi, which is also right there. I lost him too after I, went through the few years of losing my parents and my dogs. I mean, quite the journey. My third book. I wrote this book because there's a lot of stroke support groups on Facebook. So I started one. And as I'm interacting with the people, I'm noticing how many thousands of stroke survivors worldwide needed help. They're not getting proper therapy. They don't know where to reach out. They just needed more knowledge out there. So I thought everything I know about stroke, I'm putting in a book. And it's called Stroke Recovery, What Now? When Physical Therapy Ends, but your recovery continues. Because what I was finding is when sometimes the insurance companies won't cover you anymore, or whatever your benefits run out, or you're already allowed so many visits. And a lot of people feel in stroke recovery, if your physical therapy stopped, that means your recovery stopped. And that's not true in every case. In fact, it's probably not true in most cases, but unless you keep working forward with someone who knows the knowledge, you won't really know. Because you can also be training with a trainer or a fitness professional or physical therapist that never studied more about strokes. So you're being trained through limited education, which will limit your recovery. Again, it always depends on your brain too. You can be with the most knowledgeable person, but your brain just won't get a certain movement back. Or sometimes people with aphasia can't get their speaking back. So there's still have the dynamics of whatever your brain is doing personally in your body. But if your body is capable of still recovering, the only option to know is if you're with someone who has the knowledge and you keep working forward. Because there may be somebody who got out of a walker and started walking 2 months after their stroke. Somebody else might have took a year, because each brain recovers in different speeds. And sometimes insurance companies stop people's recovery because they say, well, you haven't got this part better yet by now, so you're not going to recover anymore. And maybe it's true, maybe it's not. And I know what this man went through on my first book, that was told he would never walk again. And I saw what he came through, and I met him in a walker, and I saw what he's capable of. If you saw him on the street walking after we worked together for a couple of years, you'd have no idea he had a stroke. He looks like he was walking just fine. But if he would have listened to that therapist and not seeked out more help, in fact, his sister made him do it. Because one therapist, he went to somebody else and they got him out of the wheelchair. I got him further out of the walker. He still had to use it at night for safety. You got to follow your safety. But anyway, so I wrote this book just to share the knowledge that I know. And in all my books, I always have like muscle illustrations and where'd it go? Muscle illustrations showing where the muscles are and where they attach. Because as the caregiver or the family member, or your loved one's friend, and the stroke survivor, if you have the ability to learn more, the more you learn, the better recovery you're going to have. Because you may, people are also asking me too, how do I find a trainer with the knowledge? Well, one thing is, if you learn some of the things in this book, if you go to a trainer in person and they don't know the muscles that are in this book, they're not going to bring you to what they need. They might just be someone who goes online and Google, what's the 4 best exercises for stroke survivors? And then they do them. But also know there is not 4 best exercises for stroke survivors. It's individual and it's movement. It's the exercises for the movement that the person needs to gain back when you're trying to recover from movements and everything. So that's this book, to help you continue after physical therapy when you need more help and you can recover more. Maybe you don't know if you recover more, but that's why I did this book. Because when I was interacting with the people in the stroke support group, I was just seeing them asking questions and people giving them answers like, oh, no, that's wrong. That's not the muscle that does that movement. I got to get more education out. So I have stuff on YouTube to help educate people with their muscles, because if you're with someone who does not understand all the muscles that participate in all the movements your arm can make, how are they going to help you get your arm movement back? So the knowledge is very, very important. And I have a couple other stroke books I'll show in a moment. So after that book, I brought out The Power of Your Spine, how back strength and posture play the entire body. And this comes in a colored print version where you see the muscles in color, and also in just black and white, different prices. And again, all these are on Amazon in both versions. But this is just to help explain, more about the spine, rotation, how to get balance. Because a lot of times people think they need to get better posture because they're leaning over. Or remember, posture is a real big part of fall prevention. So if you're rolling here and someone's just making you upper body exercises, you can't hold this won't hold your torso up. You need to build the torso and the core in a proper way that strengthens your core and lifts you up so this can come up. So that's also in the stroke recovery books, because that's part of stroke recovery. Plus it's mainly in this book too. So those are the two books. And then my next two books were, I did stroke recovery, leg building, walking gait. After I did this, within a week, I've had like several stroke survivors asking, can you do one on just arm recovery? So I have them both. So there's one on helping you stand, walk, the muscles that you need to move. One, again, keeping your torso upright. So because if you're upright torso-wise and you strengthen your pelvic, your limbs will work better in your legs. And also when you're in better posture, your brain can get clearer messages to your spinal cord for the movement and for healing. So that's what these two books are too. So we have these as well. So I have that stroke recovery series, the journey, the stroke survivor, I trained, and these two books and stroke recovery, what now? And that's why I did the books. And each book's dedicated to someone different. And then I did my brain book. Very tiny, they're not big giant books. They're just to the point. And so I did a brain book, Your Brain, the Engine to Your Body, a Fitness Trainer's Guide to Brain Health. And this talks about many different things, and hydration, brain care, a lot of different versions of brain care. And sorry, my screen just popped up over there. Okay, there you go there. And my screen is being kind of funny. I hope this does not mess it up. And then one day, somewhere down the line, during the COVID time, I thought I should make a kids version of the book. So here this is, Your Brain, the Engine to Your Body, Kids Edition. And it's another simple read. Talks about hearing aids. I had hearing aids growing up, and that's part of brain care, wearing your hearing aids, being kind, drinking your water so you can focus better in school, and just little simple tips. It's like this book put into tiny simple tips for kids. So that's when that came out. And then my next book was Biomechanics of Your Body. Biomechanics of Your Body, a simplified way to learn human movement and muscles. And this also comes in a colored edition, so all the muscles are in color, or you can get in black and white. And again, also in Kindle and also in print, like all the other books. And it's actually been used in classrooms and a couple courses, because basically it's just like, here's the muscle, where does it attach, what movements does it do, or which movements does it assist in and participate in the movement. So it's really good for anybody wanting to learn the body simply. It's not complicated. It's not like 10 pages describing things to make it complicated. It's just like, here's the muscle, here where it's attached, it performs these movements or assists in this movement. So that's what that is. And I'm honored that it's won, I think, 8 awards. A lot of my books have won awards. This one won the most. It's like really on. My next book is I'm Not Stupid, I Have Hearing Loss. A story of hearing loss and hearing aids, including hearing and brain care tips. So this is, again, my books aren't very long. This one's on audio as well, which is ironic. It's on audio, but it's a hearing book. But I have hearing aids. I can listen to audio through it. So I can hear these very well through it. So it depends on your hearing loss if you can hear it, but also it's on Kindle and paperback. I wrote this book about my journey of hearing loss, how I couldn't concentrate in school as a kid. They didn't point out my hearing loss. They tried to tell me it's because my parents were divorced. And actually the teacher's word was, oh, honey, your parents are divorced. And I had to go what I call dummy English and dummy reading. And then as I got older and learned that's not the reason why, I share a little bit in here about kids who don't hear as well in classrooms and how it affects their learning and sometimes their relationships and their skills of communicating with kids and things like that. But just my journey of the good and bad of it. And then I talked about hearing loss. I was also an ambassador for Star Hearing Aids, and I learned a lot from them. I learned a lot from my two good hearing professionals I've had. I shared a lot of info in here. And yeah, that's it. It also brings up, if you're older, wear your hearing aids, because if you don't wear hearing aids when you get older, it makes you more prone for dementia. So those kind of tips are in there too, and tips about clean your hearing aids and things like that. And then my last book I did was Random Feel Good Comments and Quotes. And this book was something that I wrote when I was like 21, when I was learning what self-confidence, how do you not take people's bad comments wrong? I got to build my self-confidence, so I'd keep track of. It's before the internet, way before the internet, Instagram, where you could just scroll through pages where people have a bunch of positive quotes for you to read. I made one of my own. So I told myself when I was in my early 20s that I'm going to put that in a book one day. So last year, I mean, it's really simple. It's like, here's a picture, here's a comment. Here's a picture, here's a comment. And it's not the exact same pictures I had in my books. I couldn't get them in here because then I would cut them out and paste them on one page and write my stuff. But it was just something when I was feeling down, or my feelings were hurt, or I felt like my confidence wasn't working right, I was getting depressed or something, I'd read through that book and it would always make me feel better. So for some reason last year I thought, let's do it. So I did it. And there you go. And I have one more book. I do not have it with me. I did a group book with some fitness professionals called What Now? And it was about, I forget now, about 23 of us fitness professionals, including Todd Durkin, who we put together, all of us wrote our own chapter. It was kind of most come out like, how do we all recover back from the COVID, the shutdowns, the changes in the fitness industry since then, and all things like that. We all kind of went in a different way. I was asked to do on grief and loss because, okay, during COVID, right when COVID started, my stepdad got diagnosed with bone cancer. He passed away in July. My father went in the hospital 3 weeks later, passed away in December. And all this was during COVID time, where they could barely have visitors. Everybody's wearing masks. There's no vaccines yet. It's just a zoo and a mess. And I couldn't get to my dad. I was also with my mom. We're helping each other from the loss of my dad. I was my stepdad. I was very close to my stepdad. I miss him so much. So I'm in Oregon. My family, my real father was here in California. I couldn't visit him. He kept telling me, don't even try to come, because first of all, you're going to get COVID traveling. Be careful. Plus, because you're going to get here, you won't be able to see me. So the hospitals let me visit him via Zoom. I was actually with him via Zoom when he passed away. So a bit of tough ride. So I don't even know why I went on that. So so in my book, we couldn't do, in that time, I know some people did, because I had some snide remarks about it, but some people, like me, we couldn't do celebrations of life or funerals. One, because like if I would have had my father's way back then, nobody would have came, because they were afraid of getting COVID as well. His older siblings, the family, so you correlate it where people are safe. So I did his celebration of life August 2022. And that way most people came. They weren't, 2 people didn't come. They're still afraid of COVID, but most people still came. If I would have done it back after he passed away, it would have been like 5 people. So I didn't do it. But that is also part of a lot of things we went through. So my part in the chapter in the book was about that. How, just my journey of that through it. And then also talking about how, although I had personal loss, we had our businesses shut down. So we had business loss. And we're all grieving and having loss for different directions that situation took us through, because, we may have lost clients, may have lost our business. We miss we're home now on Zoom. We miss our clients. So the whole book is about that. So there's all my books. So yes, this is a little longer video on me talking about books, but I have 14 books. So I wanted to talk about them. But also I was asked once about my dedications in my books. Almost every one of my books have dedications, because it's the timing of them coming out, it meant a lot to my heart and to the person. This book is dedicated to my father. I was just helping him get set up. There was one audiologist who was approved to go into the nursing homes during COVID time. I was just getting him set up to give my dad hearing aids, and my dad passed away probably within a week and a half of that. So we didn't get that, but this is dedicated to him. This book is dedicated to my dear dog, Wasabi. I lost him too, because he always worked with me. Wasabi's with all my clients, and he was with me through every book I wrote. He was with me as I was having someone help me make these illustrations. He probably felt every happy, joy, tear, and frustration through that whole time, and the things you go through making a book. Sometimes it's like, oh my God, the printer's jammed. Oh my God, the papers are shooting everywhere. Oh, there's a little stress when you do it. So he was with me through them all. So when I did this book, it was dedicated to him. That one's not dedicated. This one's not. I'm forgetting. That one's not. This one here was dedicated to my stepfather, because it was the first book. I was doing this book as he was ill. It was the first book I published after he passed. But he also helped me with my clients. When I was in Oregon, he made ramps for my clients with wheelchairs, and I had different ones I changed around for different people. I think I had 3 different ramps, depending on the person and their abilities. And we had wheelchairs and walkers and people with canes. That went into one room to the other. So he would build those for me. He helped my clients fix wheelchairs. He helped me. Half my books, most of my books before he passed away, if I'm in a photo, he took them for me. So dedicated to him. And then, this one is just dedicated to all stroke survivors. This one is dedicated to my dear client, Essie, who hired me at 103.5 years old. She was very sweet. And then, just threw it on the floor. The books on the journey of me and my stroke survivor is dedicated to him. But it's really cool. At his book signing, Essie was there in the she's probably 104 at that. She was 104 at that time. At the back of the book, I have his sister made shirts that said inspired by Gary, because Gary used to inspire everybody. So I had a lot of people through the town who got the shirts take photos for the book. So Essie's in her too. So at the book signing, little Essie's over there, and she's signing books for people because she's in it. I loved it. So the whole experience around these books are very special. That's why I dedicate them to the special people, because it reminds me of them. It reminds me of the specialness that they brought to the book. So that's why I have my dedication. I had a lot of people ask me that a while back. So, and I shared that once a long time ago, but I thought I'd share it again now. So there you guys go. Again, thank you for listening to the Health and Fitness Show with Tracy. If you're only listening to this audio and you want to see something I'm showing, want the more visual of it, it is all my podcasts are also now on YouTube. And you can watch what you just listened to if you want to see the books or see something I'm showing. If I'm in an interview or you're with me and we're talking about something we see, go find it on YouTube. You can watch it, because it might make what you're listening to a little different. So anyway, thank you so much. And I will see you on my other shows. We'll have solo shows with just me, and I have some really good people lined up for interviews. I'm really excited about it. And you guys have a great day, and goodbye.